Guilty across the board. Now, this is very different than the first time around. Jury deliberated for, I think it was 19 hours. They ended up hung. This jury deliberated for several hours, and they came back with guilty verdicts. Now it moves into the penalty phase. And remember, the death penalty is on the table. We are going to be covering that on Thursday. I want to try and understand exactly how this happened. So joining me is criminal defense attorney Tiffany Simmons. Tiffany, good morning to you. It's great to have you here.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right. I got to ask you, I don't understand. I just don't understand how the jury came back with this. Now, if you want to say maybe they didn't believe some of the defense's witnesses, like James Carlos Santos, maybe. But when you look at the DNA, when you look at the crime scene, there seemed to be so much evidence to at least suggest that this could have been committed by multiple people. We call that reasonable doubt. What happened here?
I don't know. I mean, when you have a jury, it's a roll of the dice. You never know which way it's going to go. Honestly, I was quite surprised to hear this. There was so much coming out in the testimony. There was so much coming out from even both sides, the state and the defense. So in my eyes, I saw a lot of reasonable doubt, but the jury has spoken.
Interestingly enough, these guilty verdicts came down on the 9th anniversary of the murders, which is just a strange coincidence. But what do you think it was? I mean, we looked at the camera yesterday. We saw the camera was on Segura's defense attorney, Mr. Prince. He looked defeated to the point, and look, I can't speak for him. They're going to be going into, that's a huge blow. Do they go back and say, we made a mistake, that we should have done something differently? Or you saw the defense's case. That's right. That was from yesterday. That was right there, the reaction shot after the verdicts. It doesn't get any more real than this. This is a man who believes that his client is innocent. I mean, really believes that he's innocent. There's times that we can say, hey, you're just trying to put on the best defense for your client, but he presented evidence to suggest that Segura had nothing to do with this. So I ask you, is there a situation based upon what you saw in the defense's case where they should have done more?
I'm not sure. I think that they should have just honed in more on reasonable doubt. I think they did the best that they could do, but when you are in the final hours, you keep fighting. So that look of defeat, you're right. He looks like he's defeated. He looks like they've lost. And I know as for me, I will continue to fight till the end. Again, this was a shocking verdict. Even when I saw it, I was surprised to see this.
Well, that didn't happen the first time around. And remember, so they went with a 6-person jury here. Is that the idea that they thought, well, look, we got 12 last time with an 8-4 split in favor of acquittal. We're going to put even a stronger case on because then they called James Carlos Santos to the stand. And we think that we can get 6 jurors to vote unanimously not guilty. That seemed to backfire.
It did, because now you just have 6 people. What if those 6 people were the 6 that believed he did it, clearly? So maybe having 12 would have had that one lone juror that was the holdout. So that might have backfired. But again, you know, you can't say shoulda, coulda, woulda in scenarios such as this. But it's very unfortunate. You know, if this man is innocent, he has lost his entire family, and now he will continue to go, you know, be in jail. It was surprising that the jury did not believe or, you know, I guess consider the testimony of Santos and all these other people.
Are you surprised?
It was so much.
I mean, was that what happened here? Did Santos bury the case for the defense? Because I thought when he was going to get on there and say, I ordered this hit, that was going to be a powerful moment, and it was. But I didn't expect the prosecution to attack this man in the way that they did. And they did a phenomenal job. They cited him as being delusional, being schizophrenic, taking credit for crimes that he didn't commit or possibly couldn't have committed. And so did that tell the whole trial right there? The fact that he was not credible or seemingly not credible?
Well, no, that wasn't the whole thing. I think another thing in the trial that wasn't helpful to the defense was when Mr. Segura, he was emotional and he got upset with the judge. That interaction with the judge, to be honest with you, I think that probably made the jury uncomfortable.
They convicted him of murder because he had an altercation with the judge?
Well, hey, juries, they are unpredictable. They'll go with who they like. they may like one lawyer because he has on a blue tie and the other lawyer doesn't. So again, people are unpredictable. And again, that interaction with the judge, some people might have took that as disrespect. They could have took that as, oh, he's aggressive. Now, me personally, I didn't view it that way, but that could have been a factor on top of the fact of what you said. Santos, he probably didn't appear as credible as the defense wanted him to appear. But again, the defense, they should have honed in on creating enough reasonable doubt, and I thought they did, but unfortunately, the jury thought otherwise.
Would we have seen a different result if Santos didn't take the stand? I mean, everything else being the same. If you put on the same exact case as you did the first time around, something didn't add up. Now, again, different jury, different people, obviously. I mean, again, even if you look to an 8-4 split in the first time around, you had 4 people who thought that he did it. So you just needed 2 more and you would have had 6 here. So the point is would they have had the same result? Or was it really because Segura had maybe not the same performance as he did the first time around?
I don't know. If I was psychic, I'd be a billionaire. But what I will say is, with the time change, maybe the testimony of the sister, maybe the testimony of Santos, maybe even Mr. Segura's testimony himself may have made a difference in this trial as opposed to the previous trial. Maybe in the previous trial, it was fresh in the community's minds. The facts weren't as muddled as they are now. Now you're approaching a situation where people are trying to recall, a horrific crime. They're trying to recall horrific events. And then on top of it, you are dealing with people that have been incarcerated and the jail talk. So it was an unfortunate situation that this case had to be retried. And again, I was shocked at this verdict.
Now, look, he did lie to police. He did use a secret phone. There's a witness who got on the stand and said that Segura admitted to him that he committed these crimes. I get it. The state had enough, clearly, to go forward. But the thing, if you're a juror, how do you reconcile, you think, the idea of, well, there's these multiple shoe impressions, there's this foreign DNA here, the timeline might not make a whole lot of sense. And also, from a practical point of view, try to imagine one person wielding perhaps several weapons and killing 4 individuals in a relatively same amount of time. How do you keep them all together? And then you use 2 different ways to murder here. So there's 2 children that were drowned. 1 child was shot in the back of the head. And then Brandy Peters put up an incredible struggle where she was shot multiple times and ultimately hit with some sort of large object. Does it make sense from a practical point of view? One person could have done this. I thought that was reasonable doubt.
Practically, in my eyes, no, it doesn't make sense, especially a male. I believe Mr. Segura was a little bit heavier at the time that these crimes were committed. I don't believe that 4, small children would sit there and watch their mother or their siblings be attacked or murdered and not move around and not put up a fight. So, practically, I don't see how this one person could have committed this. And towards the end of the case, I think that's something that the defense should have honed in more so they could, again, hone in on that reasonable doubt. Because even if even if he had any involvement, more people needed to be involved for this to happen. I don't see this happening with one person.
I could imagine, where these kids were shell-shocked about what was happening and they were in that kind of state. I can imagine that happening, but I would have liked, I think, as you said, maybe the defense should have made that more clear in a closing argument. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's take a break. When we come back, as we wait to jump live in Seavers, we're going to play you some of the closing arguments from yesterday. Stay tuned.